Welcome to Unmasking African Truths. I am your host, Opalisa. Our inserts are designed to assist Mamel Naombugile Makaya to have a better understanding of your African indigenous spirituality. If you did miss a conversation here, please do go to our YouTube channel, African Hidden Voices. You must like, subscribe, and leave a comment because we love hearing from you. Kule veki we are discussing the difference between spirituality and religion. And joining me on this topic is Imboni Igogo Dr. Uzwilezwe Hadebe, the founder and the leader of the Revelation Spiritual Home. Imboni is also a certified African indigenous spiritual guide, a qualified theologian and a qualified herbalist. Namhlanje, I'm going to give you an explanation that was given by A Happier Human, an online blog that is dedicated to publishing religious studies and spiritual studies. Happier Humans, when they differentiate between religion and spirituality, religion is commonly refers to an institution that has a set of organized practices and a structured belief system, and shared by and amongst those who are members of the institution. Spirituality is about one's soul and inner self. Being spiritual involves holding one's personal set of beliefs and practices and searching for the purpose of life. Tata, from the above explanations, as an African indigenous spiritual guide, are the above definitions, are they accurate? Do they speak to Imboni's understanding of spirituality and religion?
Yeah, of course, we always caution also ukuthi sibingelele bonke abasibukele nabasilalele ukuthi whenever we read scholarly papers, researched papers, views, sometimes not scholars, it's just views of people about these matters. Funeka sibe clear sifunda into kabani iza kanjani, but above all, i-warning enkulu is that in most cases, scholars will be from Europe or other countries. And they want to bafuna ukubhala ngento zethu. Sometimes it's right, but inkinga bafuna ukufaka i-understandings abo that emerges actually from religion. So I want to caution that sometimes, so that abantu bangaboni ithi kube ngathi it's contradiction. Yeah, part of it is correct. Now, I always explain spirituality kakhulu and say, especially African indigenous spiritualities. African indigenous spirituality, why African? Why the words indigenous? And then it says spirituality is because of it is spiritual practices ezaqala Africa. And those spiritual practices ezaqala Africa as not any religious texts. I call religious book. The A1 actually these spiritual practices zabhalwa khona noma zaphuma khona. They were revealed. These spiritual practices. And spirituality, and African spirituality, to be close, I now own in terms of like a religion. A religion always go back to a group of people or nabantu. Spirituality does not own. You just go back in life and go back in life and go back in life. Spirituality was there. You know, so our religious texts abhalwa, enani date zawo abhalwa in most religions. That's why we born with it in them. That's spirituality. Religion, of course, it's a set of rules. It's a system. Eyenzwe ngabantu religion. It must be clear lapho. Religion is iqanjwe ngabantu. That's why they have religious texts, etc., etc. So that's a difference between the two. And what about universal spirituality? Africa is the mother of everything. Umama, I mean, that is proven. Life began there. So Kalubomla, civilization began here in Egypt. And also spirituality began here. So then uNkulunkulu adale iAfrica umuntu, civilization umuntu ayiqambe kodwa spirituality umuntu akanaso. Spirituality began here. And when men migrated to other places, baqala ke because sebesukile. You know, people start developing their own things, spirituality, culture, and tradition. But others kept spirituality, not religion. But and then shifta kancane from African indigenous spirituality. But you'll always see commonalities to those who practice other forms of spirituality overseas. They'll be because umama usuka la. That is spirituality. Let's talk about institution. part of the characteristics that you study or the document ukhuluma ngayo characterize a religion also by institution, which is 100% correct. But the question is, do you have a institution, African indigenous spirituality? The answer is yes. Futhi, I'm leading it. And the reason for that is there's still differences in the characteristics. Irreligious institution is guided mainly and mostly by irreligious texts. Indigenous spiritual institution is not guided by religious texts, it's guided by izambulo. That means that now the institution, and the word called the institution, it's only because it's abantu abazayo and there is a proper hierarchy structure in the, this is what makes it institution. But its source of teaching and guidance there is not from a text, it's iembulo. You see, that's why you call it indigenous spirituality, because yonke into enzo lapho iembulo. So those are the difference. And if you want to ask me, what would make a religious institution a religious institution? For me, it will be because of, it must be based on the scriptural texts, the religious texts, because it is the institution is about what gives it life, what guides it. That's the most thing about any institution. So, the difference between the two would be lena guided spiritually, lena guided by ilokhuzana. Let me make a very quick example, like ebungomeni. It's not an institution. We can compare it to an institution because isangoma, who is registered, who must be registered, who must have trained, and who must belong to an association. Naye unale practice yakhe. It's not, but it's compared to, it's organized. Yakhe. Whoever will come as otwasa, as train, as wenzani, uza, inverted commas, the institution yakhe. Yeah, but again, it's not an institution, because institution is broader than that. There are many things, but it is an organized thing. But what makes it different from other external institutions is that whatever that is, what guides there and that is done is spiritual, because it's spirit thing. So, njengoba nasedlozini kunjalo nasesithunyweni kunjalo, can have an institution, spiritually speaking, yesithunywa, but akumele guided by a man-made document or a man-made guidance. It must be guided by isithunywa, because then it subscribes to spirituality, because spirituality is free of everything. It's spiritual guidance. It's not guidance from a text or from something.
From what you just given us, Tata, and ukuhlukanisa religion and spirituality, in Busela kumbuzo wam again, ozawuthi, can you institutionalize spirituality?
Yeah, and of course, another problem that we are facing now is you'll find abantu that who follow religion and unfortunately who simply just love to defend into abangayazi. They always also like to come up nale excuse yokuthi, in spirituality there is no order. Bayithanda lonto le, because of religion, it's run through institutions and there's order in spirituality. The problem is that ibuyela back to say our laws were rubbished, customary laws. Our belief systems were rubbished. Our economical systems were. When abantu abamhlophe bafika barabisha yonke into yethu is nonsense. And abantu abamnyama babona ukuthi basenza the same thing today when they want to criticize spirituality, especially with esizosho sithi into zesinakho sesizibona namhlanje zenzeka, even actually being on shows on TV, especially kwi-section yobungoma. Kulabanye abantu bathi khona uyabona ke kusho utlana nje umuntu mawufuna like ukwenza umess, you just run to ukuthi hayi spirituality mhlawumbe isangoma kuneyithunywa, kodwa ke maw honest ungumuntu upright, you are going to be in religion. It's incorrect. As I'm saying to you, these are the same thing that colonizers did in the past. They rubbished yonke into, replaced laws, customary laws, of course it's still there, but replaced it more with your Roman Dutch laws and English law, common law, but replace yonke into. It's not like that. It's not like that. I think it is unfortunate. Yoguti, in knowledge, I'm not talking history and I'm not talking traditions. I'm talking spiritual knowledge really ihambile eAfrica kabantu abaningi. So therefore people now dismiss spirituality as no order. There's order in spirituality. There are hierarchies, clear hierarchies that are there. Kunabantu that who must be benza into ethize, and kunemthetho, but imthetho, they are not imthetho that are like religious or written down, but imthetho that is spiritual. That example, kama selapha ebungomeni, because people are more familiar ebungomeni. Like mawuye ephehlweni kunemthetho ukuthi kunento ongamelanga uzenze, uyabona. All of that is not written down. And abanye abantu today abaningi, you know, nabo ubungoma phela busafana kuqala, hamba bothwasa uthola umuntu uthi usephehlweni kodwa ubhizi wenza zonke izinto esaziyo ukuthi ephehlweni akumele zenziwe. You see what I'm saying? So that's where people say there are no laws. They are not written laws where you are judged ukuthi it's written wenze so. They are spiritual laws ekutheni, remember ngapha emoyeni things are not forced. So imthetho ekuwukuthi ayibhalwanga, but uma unedlozi leqiniso, like you should know those things, uyabona. And nobody is going to now force you to do them. Kumele vele wenze act accordingly kulento yenza. Mawusesithunyweni, there are things akungamelanga uzenze ngesithunywa sakho, and uma kuthiwa nempela ugenuine ungumuntu wesithunywa, kumele uzazi ngesithunywa sakho kunezinto ezingafuni ukuthi uzenze, and kumele wazi ukuthi lento akumele ngizenze. Noma kuthiwa ke as a human being you make mistakes, at least ube clear ukuthi no, you know what, I'm not supposed to, but genza amaphutha athize. So there is order. The difference of this order is that's not written. Two is not something, it's forced. Spirituality is not forced. Spirituality is guidance. In religion there are laws, there are written things. Kuwukuthi noma wenzile, yabona bakwazi ukufika bathi but it's there, it's written. So ibuke ngathi ngapha kune order, ngapha kuna order. No, there is order in spirituality. Singabi confused. There is clear order, and consequences are not more on like law of the land. The law of the land, you go to jail. Those are the laws of the country. In spirituality, there are no consequences in terms of yabona kubhaliwa wenzanga, you'll be punished. There are strong spiritual consequences ozobhekana nazo uma nempela kuthiwa you are really legitimate in the spiritual context. So I had to ukuthi ngi-explain leyo ukuthi abantu bangaboni lento ezenzakalayo becabanga ukuthi ngapha kuna order, because humans we love order. You know, we don't love mess, we love order. There's order in spirituality. Let's not be confused by abantu who don't know into spiritual baqamba izinto, and now sesibona nezinto ema-TV and we think that in spirituality it's a mess. No, it's not.
Sibonga kakhulu kuyo imboni kuwe mameli nawe mbukeli emakhaya. It's always important to seek umuntu o-understandayo izinto zikamoya. Kulapho uzakwazi ukuhlukanisa ukuthi what is spirituality and what is religion. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please do this again kule veki ezayo. Siyabonga.